Yo, 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 what's the deal? It's your boy Qwan, the most handsome host of all time, and we back with Wrestling with the Homies. Now, as always, I am joined by my good friend, Jake Cooley.
Yeah, peace.
And my boy, Sylvan.
Green juices in the morning, you know me, God body.
Oh, he
Come
got
on,
the
Dad.
he got the green juice this week.
He got
No
the green.
more-
First it was
No more
mushroom coffee.
Straight ginger, baby. Ginger, cucumber,
Oh,
apple,
man.
kale.
We call that the shaman's drink, the ginger.
Relax.
I don't know why I said that.
That's crazy.
That was insane. But you know what else is insane? These topics that we got to get into. So we got to get into this ratings discussion because we always talk about ratings on these podcasts. We always talk about ratings on Twitter, on Facebook, Instagram. But as a fan, why do these numbers matter? Like, why? But first, before we get into that, we got to talk about Austin Theory because we got an Austin Theory problem. Don't laugh. Don't laugh because y'all know Austin Theory's my guy. Now, Austin Theory is one of the younger WWE superstars. He's only, 25? I think he just turned. He might have just turned 26 like last week. 26 years old. At one point, it was looking like Austin Theory was the next. Matter of fact, I think that might have been his nickname at one point. The now or the next Austin Theory. Vince McMahon was in charge, and he was pushing Austin Theory to the top. Vince McMahon is never on TV, but Vince McMahon made it a mission to do segments with this boy. I call him a boy because he was only 24 at the time.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon made it his mission to do segments with this boy every single week on Monday Night Raw. His career trajectory was looking very John Cena, Roman Reigns-ish. And then at some point, all that kind of changed. Austin Theory won the Money in the Bank title. We already know what happened with that. He cashed in for the United States Championship and lost. And then he ended up winning the U.S. Championship anyway, and it kind of just didn't make sense. And it seemed like the boy lost his way along the way.
Oh, man.
What happened to Austin Theory? Right now, Austin Theory is U.S. champion, but by the time you hear this, he might not be U.S. champion because we just don't know at this point. It's looking like it's real bad for Austin Theory. And to be honest, I don't think it's his fault.
Of course not.
I don't think it's Austin Theory's fault that he is looking this way at all. I blame your boy Triple H.
Of course.
One thing that, I blame Triple H, and I'll tell you why. One thing that's needed for wrestlers to prosper is feuds, storylines, something. You can't just be on TV wrestling random one-on-one matches with people that don't escalate past this week. Like it don't work like that. Fans are not going to get invested in seeing you just wrestle random one-offs. We got to see you in a rivalry with someone. It don't have to be anybody that's in the main event. It could just be anybody. We saw Austin Theory in a main event level feud with John Cena 6 months ago. You know who Austin Theory has feuded with since WrestleMania? He had a match with Sheamus. Nobody. Austin Theory has not had a single feud since WrestleMania. You expect us as wrestling fans to be invested in someone who hasn't had a single feud in 6-7 months? No, it's impossible. So this run, this lackluster U.S. title run, unfortunately, it's not his fault. He's still a tremendous wrestler. He can go in the ring. He can talk. I know Sylvan's going to sit here and say that he's not convincing in his role because he says it in the group chat every other day. Let's be honest. Austin Theory is convincing. When he talks, we believe what he says. Every time he's out there, people react. Whether they're booing, whether they're cheering, they react. He's not just coming out the crickets every week. People are reacting to him when he's on TV.
Right.
It's just he has nothing to do when he's on TV. So I'm chalking this up to another Triple H fumble. Austin Theory's lackluster run is all on Triple H's shoulders. It's not his fault.
What you
It's
want
definitely
to say,
not his
Cooley?
fault. I'm with Qwan, man. It's definitely not his
crazy.
fault. It's booking. You gotta charge to the game. It's booking. I mean, what the last time it was John Cena, That was a squash match. Blah blah blah. I'm thinking it was gonna be some more new feuds, but nothing happened. He's looking like
Nothing.
he's sweat.
So you guys are saying that he's not over because he doesn't have any decent feuds?
No. That's where you're
Okay.
wrong because he
Okay.
is over.
He's over.
He's over. He gets reactions. He's over. His run is just lackluster. It's giving
Very
us no
stale.
moments.
It's very stale.
Does Austin Theory really get reactions for real?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's
No,
not
he
getting LA Knight reactions or like Cody Rhodes reactions, but people
Yeah,
will make
but-
noise when
No, they don't. They don't really care, and we know this. Like
Oh
we know people don't really care about Austin Theory. And look, Austin Theory, like you're reading this, you're watching this. I'm gonna tell you everything that John Cena told you, man. Like you are a tremendous athlete. I think you can speak on the phone. I think you have a great look. I think you're young. You know what I mean? I think you have the world ahead of you, but you don't have a character. You don't have a personality, bro. Like what is Austin Theory's personality? What is his character? What is it?
he's a brash, confident young man who
yeah.
thinks that he calls himself the now because he thinks that his time is now. Like
That's
he-
so
Austin
like that's
Theory-
not a character. That's just attributes. That's not a character though. Like what is his character? Like who is he?
that's his character. I can't say that that's not a character because when I think of someone with no character, I think of someone like Johnny Gargano, who literally you can't tell me any traits about Johnny Gargano other than he wrestles.
Yeah.
I mean
Which is
Johnny
fine, 'cause he
Johnny
wrestles good,
Gargano,
but like
John-
who is he?
Johnny Gargano and Austin Theory to me don't have any character, and they're not charismatic enough, in my opinion, to be like to like garner any type of like just natural heat or natural praise. Like they are very characterless people. They have all the attributes, but they don't have anything that we can really stick to. And like the brash, confident person isn't really enough. That's like stick and pace heel tactics. It's just like, oh yeah, go out there and be brash and go out there and be this, be out.
That's
be
very
out
bare
that.
minimum.
Yeah, it's not.
It's
now.
bare minimum.
It's
like,
not a character. Like he just doesn't have a character. The guy's vanilla ice cream, man. Like you'll have it, it's cool, but you're not about to be out here like, let me get that scoop of vanilla. Like you want to try all the other
Vanilla's good.
flavors.
Nah, vanilla's a great
Vanilla
flavor.
I'm not
nice
saying it's not
sometimes,
good.
know
I'm
what
not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's
Sometimes I
good.
want a scoop of vanilla.
I'll probably
Sometimes,
do
but
vanilla
not
all
all
the
the, but
time,
not
yeah.
all the time. But not all the
I might
time. It's
do-
okay.
I might do-
It's
I
nah.
might
All
do it all the time.
right, Cooley. All right, man.
all
All
the
right,
time.
all right.
All right.
You
You
don't
can have a
even
lot of
eat
typers with
ice
that.
cream. You don't even eat ice cream. Okay, like
If
we know.
it's non-dairy,
All right. So look, my whole point is that I don't think we can blame this 100% on booking. I think that we have to look at the character of someone, right? Like LA Knight hasn't had a feud in a year, and
That's
the guys
false.
and who's
The
his
reason
last feud?
the reason LA Knight got over was because of that feud with
Bray
Bray
Wyatt.
Wyatt.
Okay, I don't agree
And
with that.
Shout
But
out to Bray.
who-
Shout out
so
to
what
LA
was his
Knight.
What was his last feud since then?
He hasn't really had one since then.
But he's still
I will
over.
say, yeah, that's
so
facts.
like,
and I will
because he
say
has a
that,
character. It wasn't like he was like running around like, oh, I don't have a feud,
Mm.
I can't get over. Like, nah, people just gravitated towards him because he has a character. He has catchphrases. He's
So what's his
reminiscent of
character? What's his character? What's so different about his character than Austin Theory's character, other
Rock
than
and
it's
Stone
working?
Cold.
LA Knight has catchphrases that remind you of the
Okay,
Attitude
but
Era.
I'm not talking about catchphrases. Austin Theory has catchphrases. What's his character? 'Cause if
Yeah.
you're saying that Austin Theory has no character, but you like LA Knight, what's LA Knight's character?
LA Knight's character is reminiscent of the Attitude Era.
I didn't
That's
ask what
all
it's
it is.
reminiscent of. I want to know what it is.
That's what I'm saying. It's reminiscent of the Attitude Era. It's a
I can
reminiscent
tell
of
you
the
Seth
Attitude
Rollins'
Era
character. Seth Rollins is eccentric. He's pretty much WWE's Joker.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can tell you Roman Reigns' character. He's the tribal chief. He's a tribal leader.
Yeah.
What's LA Knight?
He's a megastar. That's his whole character.
Nah.
God.
The biggest
All right.
megastar. It really is. The sunglasses, LA Knight, everybody's saying it. I'm the biggest of all time. You know what I mean? That is his whole character. It's the reason why, in my opinion, him and The Miz are going to do great work, because The Miz is the biggest star, biggest star in sports entertainment. I think that's his whole, or Hollywood. That's been his gimmick for like the past 10 years. So you pair that with someone who's like, I'm the biggest megastar in sports entertainment. it's like that's a clash. Oh, it's like, okay, we have a story here, you know. But with Austin Theory, he does need feuds, in my opinion, but it's because he doesn't have a character. If he had a
So,
character, he could probably skate away without having a few feuds.
so that's a tough argument to make though, for the simple fact that when he was on Raw, feuding with these guys, he was feuding with Seth Rollins, feuding with Bobby Lashley. He was over. Let's not just pretend like he was coming out the crickets. He was rocking out here. It's not until he got drafted to SmackDown and literally nothing happened. That's when we soured on him.
I mean, the real thing is that, you know, if we want to be honest, the real reason why he's not over is because we didn't push the button on his super aggressive character. Like, remember when he came out and he was just like losing it, and we were like, oh, this is kind of like some edge, like, you know, very obsessive. Like, I felt like that was the story. Like, the guy who just kept losing, who was kind of like a kid deciding, nah, I'm going to be a man, and I'm going to be relentless. And he was just going up against anything. I felt like that was the best heel we could have gotten from Austin Theory. But it was like, as soon as he won the championship, he just went right back to being the brash kid that like just gloated all the time. And it's like, bro, we were already over that. Like, that's an entry level heel persona.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I blame Austin Theory. I don't blame booking. I think Austin, I think you got to figure it out, bro. You're young, you will. But you need something, dog. I don't know what it is, but like,
he got the belt.
He
and walking around with the belt.
He definitely needs a feud, man. So I will say this. As far as LA Knight goes, we all know that LA Knight, his feud with Bray Wyatt, even though the payoff was bad, that feud helped get LA Knight over, because LA Knight, he kind of outshined Bray in that feud. Like, he came to the ring, he cut promos, he slapped him twice. Y'all remember when he slapped him twice?
Yeah,
like
twice.
He kind of got over in that. The problem with Austin Theory is that this John Cena feud was supposed to do that for him, because the John Cena feud was the comparison that everybody made. Austin Theory reminds them of a young John Cena. That was his trajectory. He was doing the mannerism. He was kind of acting like John Cena in a way. And that feud was really supposed to put Austin Theory over the edge. But unfortunately, what happened was, if we being honest, John Cena outshined Austin Theory in that.
Of course he did.
When they had that promo off on Raw, John Cena kind of buried Austin Theory. He told him that he wasn't convincing. He told him that they pipe in noise for his promos because nobody cares. It was kind of foul. And yeah, he did do the honors of putting him over at Mania, but up to that point, like, we already saw him get buried on the microphone, so it was just kind of hard to rebound from that.
But is it hard to rebound from that though? Like, is it?
If you're not given much to do after that, like, that's our last impression of Austin Theory. Outside of that, he's done nothing but wrestle against Butch on random SmackDowns.
I'm gonna quote Triple H and Ric Flair. You know, the title doesn't make the man makes the title. And you gotta be able to take what you're given and go to the next echelon. Like, it's a reason why LA Knight could have a feud with Bray Wyatt, and, you know, the match not really result into something that was like the best, but he's able to take that momentum and even be more popular because he has character, he has slogans that people love, and he has a tenacity that people are just naturally attracted to. He's not even trying. The guy went on a losing streak. You know what I mean? And people started cheering for him even more just because they loved him. And I think the problem with Austin Theory is just that he doesn't know how to tap into any character. He's just good. And when you're just good, it's fine, but it's like, it's only going to get you so far. Like, we don't care about you, and if we don't care about you, then you definitely need a feud. And if you don't have a feud, then it's just like we can only hate you for being brash for so long.
Right.
Like, we gotta hate you for something else, dog. Like,
so that's not creative fault for not giving him a character.
I think as a wrestler, you have to figure out what you're gonna do. I think creative is very influencing in what you're doing, and how, like, they'll give you something and you got to make the best out of it. Like, the New Day had to find a way to make the choir and
make the
Steve Harvey suits work, and they just
how long
decided,
did that take?
We're gonna be buffoons. It took a while.
How long did that?
It took a long time. But it was but they had a character. You get what I'm saying? Like, they had something they could work with. Austin Theory doesn't have anything to work with.
All right, so here's the thing. Austin Theory does have a character. He has a character. The problem is,
what's the character?
The problem He's brash. He's arrogant. That's him. Like
It's not a
there's
character. That's just personality.
it's a character. It's a character, and I'll tell you why. LA Knight is doing the same thing, and so
LA
is
Knight's a
Grayson Waller.
megastar.
Yeah, no, but okay, a megastar is just a title. You're the megastar. I can be a megastar. What does that mean?
Yeah,
Cardi
he's
B
the
is a
megastar.
megastar. That's not a character. That's just this. That's just what you're billed as. That's like saying the icon is a gimmick. The icon is just a slogan. Like
the Undertaker's a gimmick.
Icon.
No, the
Well,
Undertaker's
icon,
gimmick was that he was dead. Like, come on now.
I mean, yeah.
All I'm saying is that Austin Theory has a character. One of the issues is that there's guys doing his character better than him right now. Like Grayson Waller is doing a better version of what Austin Theory is doing. LA Knight is doing a 10 times better version of what Austin Theory is doing. Because LA Knight is arrogant. He's brash, but he has his own shtick with it, even though it's The Rock and Stone Cold. So it's like, but there's nothing that Austin Theory's doing that separates himself from the pack.
We can argue that every heel is arrogant and brash. Like those are just entry level traits of a heel.
Not
this isn't
really.
A character.
Not really. There's very specific. So the Miz is really the blueprint of this.
It's the most
like
arrogant.
When I look at the Miz, I see the Miz in LA Knight. I see the Miz in Grayson Waller. I see the Miz in Austin Theory. I even see the Miz in MJF, like someone who's not even in the company. So the Miz is really the blueprint. The problem is all the guys that I named are doing a better job with that shtick than Austin Theory is doing. And that's just the truth.
I don't agree, man. I don't agree. I think there's just more attributes.
You just think he don't have character at all.
I just don't think he has a character. I think when we look at someone Grayson Waller, who is, still relatively early. I mean, the thing about Grayson Waller that separates him to me from Austin Theory is that, I mean, guess so.
He's that plays a part. Like he doesn't sound like anybody else because he's Australian. Maybe crikey, mate.
Crikey, mate.
I was gonna say something completely different. I'm like, well, I guess he is Australian.
I mean, he is Australian.
Well, I mean, he is Australian, but I feel like what makes him completely different is just like he knows how to put over himself in a way that I don't think Austin Theory does. I think Grayson Waller knows how to be far more convincing. I think he knows how to utilize his talents a lot better than Austin Theory. Now, do I think he has a character completely? Not necessarily. And I think we're going to see that in development. But when when he evolves. But it's like you saw him at what was the last PPL?
It was Money in the Bank.
Money in the Bank, right?
Yeah.
Came out cutting this promo.
With
Booze galore.
Yeah.
Like against Cena. And he was just moving through it. The way he
shined in that promo with Cena, that was what Austin Theory was supposed to do, and he let me down.
Can't do it, man, because he ain't got it like that. Like he's good, but he doesn't have a real character to bite onto, man. And I mean even Grayson Waller has the Grayson Waller effect. It's like he's got something. Like we need something. Like MJF had attributes to him. He had the scarf. He had being a douche, overly douche. He was throwing things in people's faces. Like it was like attributes that were like making him more of who MJF was coming to be. Pompous. Like you need more to yourself. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't have anything. He's just good. And so it's like how do I stick through?
I feel like he's more. I think Sylvan, you said it a couple of minutes ago that he's like the Miz. Or was that you?
No, that was definitely
me. It was me.
That's
definitely like
okay, so I believe
I love the Miz love in here, by the way.
I love the Miz, but I feel like he's just like a lower tier of the Miz. Like I can see him as a high school jockey, someone who's self-obsessed, and just a flexer, pretty much. I think that's his character, like a cocky high school jockey. I don't know,
right?
But
so my question to y'all, and I do think it's important to note that, like the guys we're comparing him to, the Miz, LA Knight, even Grayson Waller, these are dudes who are like 35 and older. Like Grayson Waller's like 34, 33.
Really?
It's important to note that he's not that young.
Yeah.
LA Knight, we all know LA Knight like 41.
Yeah, he's been around.
The Miz is like in his 40s. It's important to note that Austin Theory, the guy who we're talking about, he did just turn 26 like last week. So he's still got a long way to go. We were saying let it play out. We definitely have a lot to play out with him. But I have a question for both of you. Do y'all think that Austin Theory is miscast? Like this character he's doing, is it just not him?
Yes, I think that
Oh,
Austin Theory, and you made this point, Quan, him going back like to his roots and being like the goofy kid with Gargano. I think they need to revisit that. You know what I mean? It was the reason why Edge and Christian worked out, right? Like
Right.
he came into WWE with the button. And it's like the thing about the button is like it could work for you or it could work against you. And we've seen it time and time again that when you get pushed a button, when you get put in prominent places, unless you're just really, really, really ready, unless you're like Brock Lesnar, and even then, we saw what happened with that. Like, it's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough for you to adjust because you don't really know yourself as much. And so, like, I feel like going back to what was working for him in NXT could allow him to really figure out, okay, this is me. This is not me. This is great. This isn't great. I mean, look at Jimmy and Jay Uso, man. Like those guys were tag team champions for 12 years, bro. I mean, well, tag team for 12 years. And
They
they're
were
just getting split,
miscast.
bro. They're
Yeah.
just getting split. Like they were miscast for 4 or 5
They were
years.
wearing face paint, doing
yeah,
warrior dances, and like it was
Yeah,
cool, but that wasn't them.
but they were
right.
This
figuring it
feels
out.
like them.
But they were figuring it out. You can't be miscasted and put in the spotlight with Vince McMahon as the next one, doing all these like high spots. It's just like, bro, we're gonna see all your flaws in real time, like at a very high level. So I think he's definitely miscasted.
Hey,
Go
you know
ahead.
what I feel? I feel like he can go to the dark side, and that will work perfect with him. Like I can see him on some Judgment Day Finn Balor type wave. Like
I would
I
like to
don't know.
see
I
that
can
for
just see
sure.
it. Like maybe Sylvan, you are correct. He can go back to the goofiness, but later on down the line, he gets betrayed or some crazy happens, and then it turns him dark. To the dark side, kind of like Dark Vader. I'm
Gargano
a
can
Star
betray
Wars
him.
You know
head.
what?
I'm sorry. I'm a Star Wars head, y'all. If y'all didn't know.
I'm
But
gonna
yeah,
go
I
a
can see
whole
him doing that, man. That's dope.
I'm gonna go a whole different way with it. So
Uh-oh.
so Austin Theory, like before Austin Theory made it to WWE, he was pretty well known in the independent circuit. He had a couple like documentary spots on like Vice and all these other stations. And he was always painted as like the super athlete, like the good guy who like from a small town, he worked his way up. He did hard jobs, and his dream was to make it to WWE. He just like really, 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 really wanted to be a wrestler. So like seeing that and seeing him in that element, and then seeing this brash, cocky high school jock type of heel that he's playing, it does seem like a clash because like I know personally from seeing what he was and back then, I know that's not him. That's not him at all.
Yeah.
Mm.
So honestly, I feel like what could work for him is completely tear him down. He's facing Santos Escobar for the U.S. title. I think that's tonight. Have him lose,
Yep.
have him go all the way back to the back of the line, have him do some soul searching, have him realize that you know what, I'm not the person that I thought I was. I was cocky, I was arrogant, and it got me nowhere. So now I want to really work my way up to the top and have him do that. I feel like fans will get behind him
Yeah, it's a
because
good
I mean
narrative.
this cocky, I hate everybody, but I'm the man. Wow, it's working for him. He gets a reaction when he comes out, but it's clearly not doing anything to separate him from the pack. Now, when I look at what LA Knight's doing, when I look at what Grayson Waller is doing, as much as I love Austin Theory, I don't think that this character he's playing can compete with none of that at all.
And none of them guys have belts, but Theory. That's
That's what
crazy.
and that's what's really crazy. He's had this title. Isn't he the longest running U.S. Champion since Dean Ambrose?
Yep.
Since Dean Ambrose in
hmm
2013, bruh. That's
hmm
He's
crazy.
the
So they're
longest running
trying.
champion, and it's done nothing for him. Like
They're trying.
absolutely
Yeah.
nothing.
It's because he ain't got nothing, man. He has nothing to work with. He's just a heel. So
He passing
it's a
his
copy and
record in,
paste
in
heel.
100 days.
Hey, we'll
Yeah,
shit.
he's not. Get that off.
We'll
Of him.
see. We'll see what happens. I mean, he is 26, like I said. And before we get out of here, let me just ask y'all this one last question on Austin Theory. What do you see happening with him in the future? Like, do you see it actually working out for him, or do you think it's this is the end of the
Like
line?
wrestling as a
Is he gonna
whole.
get Dolph Ziggler? Yeah, is he gonna get Dolph Ziggler
Oof.
where he's a career mid Carter, or do you see it actually happening for him?
I
Do you
see
see
it
him
actually.
becoming the John Cena that he's supposed to be?
Oh, John Cena. Oof. I don't think he coming
Maybe
like
not
a
John
John
Cena, but
Cena type of
a
star.
star
Yeah,
caliber person as
he's
opposed to like
definitely
a background player.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be a star wrestler in my eyes. I think he just
You
have
still
a
think
lot of
so?
work to do. Yeah, I still think so. I think he has a lot of work to do. As long as Vince McMahon is on that chair, Theory is going to be in the spotlight. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's a fact.
That's just me.
I think he has a lot to work out, but he's got everything to be a star. Like the guy literally has everything except the character.
Full
So I
package.
think you get him a strong character that we can actually rock with and care about. Yeah, he's gonna go. He'll be a Randy Orton or something like that. Where it's like Hall of Famer. Like he's poised, man. But he needs something. Give that kid something to chew on because he's got nothing right
Yeah.
now.
Facts.
Shit, well,
Facts.
Austin Theory, we definitely rooting for you over here at Wrestling with the Homies. Get it together, my brother.
Let it
Now,
play out.
it's time to talk about something that I actually hate. I hate this discourse, but it's never gonna die. We've established that this is here forever. Wrestling ratings. Why do we pay attention to the numbers? As wrestling fans, shouldn't the quality of the product be the only thing that we're worried about? Shouldn't wanting a great show be the only thing that we're invested in? Why are wrestling fans so obsessed with the numbers? Why do we watch the ratings every single week and report on them and compare them? Just this last episode, we were talking about Collision having the lowest amount of viewers that it's had since its debut. Why do we even care about that? I just want to know from your perspective, Sylvan. I'm gonna start with you. Why do you care about ratings?
Look, man, I care about ratings, but I don't care about ratings, I think, as much as other people care about ratings. I care about ratings because there's still a measure of attention span for viewership, right? I compare ratings to like record sales, right? Where, record sales don't necessarily equate to the quality of an album, but it does show the measure of who's tuning in. And it begs the question as to, well, why are they tuning in? Is it a machine aspect? Is it just the company is really big? Was the promotion better? Was there better marketing? It's just it's a conversation to think about. And I think that when we're talking about ratings in wrestling, like, yeah, we're not gonna equate ratings to like, oh, this was a good show or this was a bad show, but we are going to equate ratings to like, okay, well, who wasn't watching and why weren't they watching? You know what I mean? And that could beg up the question of, is this show doing good or do they have good product? But we all know that it's not necessarily always, oh, the show is good or bad.
So
Even though I may say that when WWE was pretty bad, those ratings were not looking that good, like 1.2, 1.3, 1.1. Compared to
honestly, when
now,
WWE was at its worst, the ratings were still better than today's ratings, low key.
I mean,
Jesus.
I hate to say
That
that.
is
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. And it's also a different,
like 2012, 13. It's a different time for sure.
yeah, it's a
but-
different time.
That is crazy.
Media has changed so much in the past 15 years.
Right. So that was a very mature take from you, Sylvan, but I am not buying it at all.
Listen,
And
man.
I'm gonna pass this off to Cooley because Cooley said it earlier. He said it earlier when we were talking
Yeah, he
about
did.
this.
He
I know
sure
Cooley
did.
knows what this is.
Mhm.
Cooley, why do these fans get so wrapped up in his ratings talk?
Fans,
honest.
first of all, this is a setup. The elite is setting us up. Nah, but fans care
Facts.
about ratings because of tribalism. Oh,
Thank
AEW, we did
you.
woo, woo. WWE, well, we did woo, woo. Like, oh my God, it's back and forth. We're not getting no money from this. This is not helping
Yeah.
our rent, our light bill, nothing. So why are we so infatuated with this? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Me personally, like, it feels good to know the product that I'm watching is doing great. So I guess that's the kind of angle you can take. But at the end of the day, it really don't matter. SmackDown can do 2,000 viewers, and it's still a great show. So it don't really matter at the end of the day. It's just so fans can get chirping and arguing back and forth.
But if
Okay,
SmackDown's
they're
doing
not doing
2,000
200,000. I know they're not doing.
we would be like, what would we be like? We'd be like, yo,
We would be like,
if
yo,
SmackDown
why are
did
they doing
400,000, 500,000? We'd be like, yo, what is going on?
That's
And why?
crazy.
Why do we react that way? Why do we react? What? It's not about what we think. It's about what we respond to. So why are we
Right.
responding that way?
So It's honestly a number of different things. One of the reasons I believe that fans pay so much attention to wrestling ratings, especially like ourselves, like I'll be honest about it. We all, as humans, seek validation, some
True.
form of validation. And people being interested in the things that you are interested in is a form of validation. So honestly, if I'm a J. Cole fan, right? Of course I want J. Cole's album to be dope. I don't want it to be bad. Why would I want it to be bad? Of course I want it to be dope. But because I'm a J. Cole fan, I also want other people to be J. Cole fans. So I want J. Cole's album to do 5 billion copies its first week. Now, obviously, that's not possible, but I would be happy to see J. Cole succeed because when he succeeds, it validates my opinion of the music that I like being good. And I think that transfers right over to wrestling. People seek validation. If I am a fan of this wrestling company, AEW, and I want to see them shine, of course I'm going to pay attention to ratings because I want to be validated in my opinion that AEW is a dope company. So I want them to get the most viewership that they can. So validation plays a huge part in it. But also, from a business standpoint, as a fan, you kind of want to see the things that you like succeed for the simple fact that if it's not succeeding, that's less content for you. If J. Cole drops an album and it does 20 copies, am I getting another J. Cole album? I don't know.
But why?
If
like, why? Like, what is that?
Because why would the label put their resources in something that's not going to return on that
I see
investment?
what you're saying. Like, is the business going to continue?
Like, if I'm an AEW fan or if I'm a WWE fan, let's not use AEW for this one. Let's use WWE. If I'm a WWE fan and I'm very invested in SmackDown, I love SmackDown, right? But SmackDown is doing underwhelming numbers every week. How do I know that it's not going to get canceled? Like, is Fox going to re-up on this show that nobody's watching?
Yeah, that's real. I respect that.
So that's going to affect me at the end of the day. Yeah. And that is very true for AEW because AEW is a young company. The content that they're putting out, a lot of weeks they are number one, but a lot of wrestling fans feel these numbers are lackluster. If they continue to do lackluster numbers, is Warner Brothers and TBS, are they going to keep investing in this this product that's not turning out the numbers that they want? Which I don't know if that's true because they might love these numbers. I'm just speaking hypothetically.
Yeah, because I mean, we don't know what those numbers look like to the network, right? Like to the network, It could probably be like, oh, this is great. We're doing good television. It's not WWE because, like, why would it be? But this is still good television ratings. Like, I mean, I'm not saying it is. I don't know. I'm not a television ratings expert like that. But I mean, in that, I just don't think ratings equate to a good show. But it is good to like. I think it's cool to see ratings and being like, yo, why? Like, why is it getting this much? Like, we were just talking about it with SummerSlam and Collision. Like, damn, why did Collision fall over 300,000 in ratings? And it's like, obviously, it's because of SummerSlam. But it just begs the question, like, why? Like, what's going on? Like, what's happening? Why did NXT go up its highest viewership to 700,000 in the past 2 years? Because Judgment Day and Dom. Like, man, that's interesting. You know what I mean? Like, it just it just shows
that's actually insane, by the way. That
it's insanity.
Mysterio has this effect on NXT right now.
Yeah, I said that's the reason why they Dom moving the needle.
When Cooley said that, I like dismissed it. I'm like, ain't no way that people just tuning in to see.
Dom might be the Roman Reigns of NXT.
They like the hated guy. They love that.
He might be the Roman Reigns of NXT, dog.
Hey, Jake Paul spoke on that. He said he does that on purpose because they bring in the most money. They bring in the most attention. They love a heel at the end of the day, So, hey.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we pay to see the heel lose. We pay to see the heel lose. As much as we want to see the hero win, we really want to see the villain lose.
That's love to hate. We love to hate.
Right.
We hate to feel nothing. We want to feel something. So
right. So but back to the ratings conversation, because this is a good conversation. I really want to pose the question, why are ratings the only thing we pay attention to when it comes to a company's success? And why aren't we paying enough attention to like attendance, to merchandise sales?
I mean, we talk about attendance well, AEW's been talking about attendance. I feel like the companies really talk about the attendance a lot. Like Triple H is constantly like just did our biggest thing, in the past, 4,000,
Right.
epic night.
But that's the
you
company.
know. But Tony does it too. But I feel like the company does, but I don't know about the fans.
That's what I'm saying. The company
I feel like the
does.
fans don't really care about what's filling seats as long as they can watch it from home. At the end of the day, it's all about viewership, isn't it?
Even though AEW has been like stressing this Wembley thing, like the AEW fans, I see them stressing these Wembley seats, like for real. Like I see it on my timeline every day. I'm like, okay, we get it.
But
like
let's be honest.
selling seats, like
honest.
great.
Let's be honest. As an AEW fan myself, a lot of AEW fans are doing that as a coping mechanism, because whenever something happens in AEW that is not the most positive coverage, like for instance the 300,000 viewers on Collision, they immediately follow that up with but Wembley Stadium 80K. It's like it's a but at this point. Whenever something bad happens, it's like, but we did 80K though, so don't pay attention to this, pay attention to that 80K.
I just feel like it's like, bro, like it's SummerSlam. Like if like as a wrestling fan in general, you're gonna watch SummerSlam. Like you could be a TNA, like you could be an Impact guy, you can be a New Japan Pro Wrestling. Like as a wrestling fan, you're gonna tune into SummerSlam, dog. You're gonna tune into WrestleMania. Like it's just wrestling. Like it's the big four. Like there's nothing embarrassing about going head to head with one of the biggest pay-per-views and maybe suffering some like ratings. Like you guys just you're clearly in the right direction. Your ratings are going up consistently. It's just a bad night. Like, but I don't know. That's another conversation. I don't get AEW fans sometimes, man.
And now that I'm thinking about it, we really don't talk about merchandise sales like at all.
LA Knight. Yeah.
Like LA Knight has like 5 of the highest selling T-shirts in WWE. CM Punk was breaking records for pro wrestling tees. Like we don't talk about none of this. We only focus on the number of viewers that's watching. And the thing is, that's flawed because so many people record episodes. So many people watch on other ways. There's the internet. So it's like, this is such an outdated concept that we're continuously focused on every single week. And I feel like fans just don't understand that. And I don't get it. I don't get it. But I'm a part of the problem because I focus on it too.
I like it. I think it's good. I think it's a good conversation. Like, oh, y'all did this.
Tribalism.
It's just like
part of tribalism.
Yeah, it's part of tribalism. But I like asking why. Like I want to know why it's going on.
No, you don't. You like to gloat WWE's numbers against AEW's numbers. That's what you really like to do.
I like that AEW's doing good. I like that. I think they should continue.
Are they
to
though?
Keep. I mean, I don't know if they're doing good.
Let's really get into that.
I don't know if they're doing good.
What's being good? What's doing good to you?
To me, doing good is appealing your network. Like whoever you're signed to, if they're good with your numbers, then so be it. Like what's the problem?
But some people, and I pose this question to you and Cooley, because some people say that AEW hasn't grown since its inception. And honestly, when you look at the viewership, just the viewership alone, I want to talk about the house sizes in the Wembley Stadium because we all know what they're doing at Wembley. But as far as viewership, do y'all know what the highest rated AEW show was ever?
CM Punk debuting, right?
Nope.
Well,
it was literally AEW's debut show.
Oh,
what?
I think they did 1.4 million. They haven't touched that number since then.
I mean, it's also the fact, but I mean, we got to talk about, and I hate to put on my AEW cap, but I mean, they're kind of going through what any wrestler goes through, right? Like we got the theme of these of our pods recently have been like, yo, let it play out, right? It's a 5-year-old company. So now that they've gotten past the initial hype, they kind of got to figure out what makes their product hot. You know what I mean? Like it's no longer, and like we said before, like a big part of AEW's fabric was we are the alternative to WWE. And now that WWE is hot, it's like, okay, well now we got to really figure out what that alternative really means outside of we're a better show. It's not enough to just be a better show. Now you got to figure out why. You got to define what that means. It's not just like better wrestling or better wrestling matches. I just feel like they got to figure it out, man. Like it's still early for them. They're still a 5-year-old company.
Right.
You know what I mean? At least that's how I feel.
And then I'll pass that off to Cooley. So do you think they're growing or do you think that they stalled?
Bruh. I'm looking at these numbers right now.
They might decline.
Yeah, I told you. Like at some point,
what?
Their most watched show was the debut show, and they haven't touched those numbers since then. So a lot of people argue that there hasn't been any growth in AEW. Now I would say that that's false because AEW wasn't filling 80,000 people in one stadium in the
No.
beginning, and now they are. But it is kind of questionable why they haven't gained much viewership since then. Because WWE viewership had fell off at one point. SmackDown was doing like less than 2 mil. Raw was doing like 1.2, 1.4. They were Dynamite was almost outdrawing Raw at one point. But then something changed, and now WWE is back in the 2 millies.
I mean, there's all
yeah, bro. That's crazy.
Their stuff was also down early on, like, you know, before the Monday Night Wars happened. You know what I mean? Like they started Raw, and then it was like their viewership was just in the toilet. And then they had to figure out, what are we gonna do? Like, who are we gonna put at the forefront? What are we gonna make? Who are we gonna make that's gonna be exciting? I think Tony Khan has to stop. You know, and I'm just being real. I think Tony Khan's got to stop like appealing to AEW so much. You know what I mean? Because I think AEW is very invested in the wrestlers that have been there. Like, they want to see the MJFs and a few other guys. Like, you know, and I think MJF is doing great, but you got to start bringing in, like, you got to start cultivating real stars, like real stars. And I don't think they're doing that. I think they're.
Wait, so do you mean like already established stars?
I don't know about. I don't know about already established stars, but like, they got to create new characters that are just really compelling. Like, you know, Stone Cold. You know, as much as I hate to say it, like he was like he already had like a certain gimmick, but it was like, man, he came into the fold, and you know, The Rock came into the fold, Mankind came into the fold. You know, at a time where they needed something. It was like Shawn Michaels was dope, but it was like, bro,
I love how you say that like it's so easy though. Like they got.
I don't think it's easy. I don't
got to create a compelling character like Stone Cold.
I don't think it's easy.
Stone Cold is Stone Cold.
I don't think it's
That's
easy.
Once in a lifetime type shit, man.
I don't think it's easy, and and I don't mean to compare it in that capacity. I just mean that they are past their hype. It's like, bruh, at this point, we get what AEW is now. How are you going to redefine it? Or are you just going to keep doing the same thing? Because they're kind of doing the same thing, and we're realizing that there's a cap. There's a cap on this type of product. And if they want to stay there, then that's cool. But if you want to be top dog, then you're going to have to dig in deep and figure out what you can change about the product. And that means you might have to alienate some of your core fans. That's if that's what you want, Tony.
So to answer Quan's question, just judging off these numbers, wow, they're very stagnant. Like, it's the same. No. Like, I never noticed that. I'm sorry, I never noticed that. But like, wow, it's like the same thing. But I feel like it's not to the point where the network would drop them. Like, at the end of the day, this is all up to Tony Khan. Like, he has the ball in his hand, so he has to work on his product, his wrestlers, his development, and everything. But yo, that is insane. Thanks for that, Quan, man.
Look, and I will say this before AEW fans come for us, I will play the part of the AEW fan because I do love AEW. I know these numbers look lackluster when you're looking at them in comparison of the WWE scope, but these shows are still like number one in their time slot. Like, it's like Dynamite might only be doing 800K versus the 2 million that SmackDown is doing, but Dynamite is still number one most nights in its time slot. And I'm sure I'm sure TBS can't complain about being the number one rated show that night. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like that's success, right? Like, you're in your lane and you're killing it, and you're appeasing the people that are invested in you. That's success. You know, if you want more than that, if you want to be big dog and, you know, compete with that other company, then I mean, that's another conversation. But I feel like they're doing great. Like, I don't have any slight to AEW. I think we just kind of got to be real about the amount of patience it's going to take if they want to scale this even further. And I think Tony is very ambitious, right? We've seen him. We've seen his character's demeanor. He wants that top spot. So it's like, if he does, it's going to take some sacrifices. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, it just is what it is.
800K is good to me. If I was Tony, I wouldn't even worry about what WWE doing, because it's like,
exactly
2 million. It's a 70, 60-year-old company. Like, what do you expect?
That's what I'm saying, bro.
And it's on network TV. Like, that's Fox.
Just stay in your lane.
What are we talking about? Yeah, what are we talking about? 800 is solid to me.
But see, you know, and I hate to go on like on an off, you know, tangent, but like, that's always been my issue, is that, like, why is AEW even concerned with WWE? Like, the amount of success they've garnered in 5 years is unprecedented. We haven't seen anything like that since WCW. It's incredible.
Yeah, but I feel like that's just the business side of it. Like that's a
you.
business practice. Like I feel like a lot of the tribalism that we see with the fans, it is kind of it's dog whistled by Tony Khan. To be honest, he throws the bone out there for them to attack, and it's smart business to me. Like I know it's annoying when you see it online and all over your timeline, but you're breeding a cult-like fan base, and that's never a bad thing. A cult-like fan base can carry you for years and years. So like, I can't be bad at that. Like he's just trying to spark up this perceived wrestling war, which we all know it's not a war because let's just be honest, WWE is not in trouble. They're not in danger of going off air or anything like that. But
I just want them to work with each other.
If you pretend there's a little war, you can fire your fans up and make them dedicated viewers. So I'm not mad at it. I get it.
I want to see them work together. That's all I want. I just want to see them
crossover.
I want to see more crossover promotions, man. I want to see more people double dipping, man.
It's not,
but it's not happening. Everybody,
AEW and WWE are never working together. There's no way.
Hunter hates like boys, man.
I feel, and at this point, I feel like Vince McMahon, as old as he is, he might be the one that's open to it. Because I mean, he worked with ECW behind the scenes, and we didn't know for years until like later on. So I feel like Vince McMahon would be up to it. But Triple H, after what AEW did to his precious NXT, I can't see Triple H working with Tony Khan ever
after
in
you
my
took
life.
Adam Cole from me. It's tough.
Like if Triple H walks away from WWE, I think he's just done with the wrestling business because I cannot see Triple H going over to AEW and doing anything.
At all.
Yeah. Hey, quick shout out to y'all AEW, man. Like the stuff that's going on right now with MJF and Adam Cole is probably some of the best wrestling entertainment content ever.
It's very sports entertainment-y too.
It's very sports entertainment. You know what I mean? That's what I like to see. I want to see more angles. Good job. More of that.
Right, and final question before we get out of here. I just want to know, Sylvan, I'm gonna start with you. What do you see for AEW going forward? Do you see them finally tackling the big dog and catching up? Do you see them growing, or do you just see them staying where they at for the rest of their tenure until it's over?
I think, and this is just being real. I think AEW can probably. I think they have potentiality to trump WWE.
Potentiality, a crazy word, bro.
It is potentiality to trump WWE. For a period. I don't think like for a long time, but I think for a period of time. I think they can. I think honestly, it's just a numbers game, though, right? Like you kind of got to just continue to be in the mud. It's business. I think Tony Khan is a billionaire. He can stick around for a long time. And when you can stick around in business and figure things out, who knows where you might be in 20 years. Now, that's not to say that that's going to happen, but anything can happen. Things change, people change, products change, situations, you know what I mean, move in different scenarios. Like, for all we know, we could see one of the biggest stars in WWE right now, like, decide, you know what, I want to leave and go over to AEW. You know what I mean? And that could change the whole.
She's still out there.
She's still out there. You know what I mean?
Still out there.
We can see the whole game change. So anything, in my opinion, can happen. So I do see them having a period where they are trumping WWE for a period of time, and that's coming from Mr. WWE, baby. You see the title.
Cooley, back. Be honest.
I don't see no period. I don't see none of that happening. I am sorry. As long as AEW keeping them old wrestlers coming through and like clockwork, we don't want to see that, you know. And Roman is on top. Roman's the greatest wrestler of all time right now on this planet,
basically.
And he's still in WWE. They're not topping it no time. So I'm sorry. They got potential to get higher ratings.
Potential, yeah.
Regardless of whether we see AEW catch up to WWE or narrow the gap when it comes to viewership, or if we just see AEW remain where it's at, do steady growth and keep entertaining us, I think we would all agree that having two promotions that are thriving right now is a win for everybody.
Facts.
So I can't be mad at that. So shout out to AEW.
Wrestling
and
wins.
With that, we out of here. That was a good conversation, fellas.
Yeah.
Real constructive.
Y'all remained mature, kept your composure. I'm proud. I'm proud,
man. We can.
No curse words. There was no cursing, no fighting. Look, I'm proud of you, fellas.
We know how to conduct ourselves.
Let's hug it out like MJF and Adam Cole.
We know how to conduct ourselves, man. We know how to have, great conversation. But sometimes we get passionate. We human.
Hey, but I definitely wanted to beat your ass on that Austin Theory topic though, because you had my son effed up.
That's crazy that he's your son.
I almost slipped up. Look, at the end of the podcast, I almost slipped up with the F word, but I kept it clean. It's our clean, it's the clean episode, baby.